I really felt like I was having an emotional breakdown. The emotions that I was so trying to push down came, and it was like a floodgate, a tipping point. I just cried and felt like I didn't stop. I was depressed. I was angry. I don't even think I was angry at anybody in particular. I think I was angry at the fact that, damn, I have to have these emotions now, and damn, I had to deal with a rewired chest, and damn, I didn't get my ankle, so it was a lot of that stuff. And then I thought, at some point, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I wanted to move beyond this. During that 6-month period before I was able to get in touch with Dr. Van Pelt, I also got to speak with my orthopedic surgeon about it. And this is when I got to see a side of healthcare that most people don't. And I think this is always important for me to tell people, is, he referred to me as a miracle from God. And then I laughed and said, yeah. And he said, no, Linda, you're a miracle from God. And he pointed up to the sky. And then he started to cry. And he actually couldn't stop telling me the story. So I got to see that this had a big impact on more than my family and I, which I think most patients don't get to see that side of healthcare. And I have been exposed to it. So when I wanted to kind of move beyond it emotionally, I made a decision not to sue, and I thought if I bought Dr. Van Pelt a cup of coffee, we could sit down and I could let him know that I really, by this time, I understood more about what could have happened, and I didn't blame him, and that I kept thinking, if I was feeling this miserable, how must he be feeling if he was the one that injected me? And I called my orthopedic surgeon to say, hey, what do you think? Do you think he'll have coffee with me? And he told me he was no longer at the Brigham, and I remember feeling like somebody punched me in the gut. I missed my opportunity. However, to his credit, he said, I wanted to schedule surgery too. He said that first things first, and he was able to get in touch with Dr. Van Pelt's former chairman and then contact Dr. Van Pelt by way of phone.
I actually ended up taking a job in Seattle, which was unrelated to this, which was another opportunity to do something different. And so 6 months later, I was out there, and I came home to find this message on my answering machine from, I think, the chairman of my department. Somebody from the hospital who said, there's a patient in Boston who would like to get in touch with you. And, as an anesthesiologist, we don't really have a practice, so it was pretty clear who this person was. And, again, all of a sudden, the thoughts start going through my mind, why is she calling me now 6 months later? Should I call her back? Should I not? And, it wasn't a very long inner conversation because I realized that I was really still walking around with this knot in my stomach, and that I just, had put so much effort in trying to get to this point that I had to do it. And so I called her.
It was the first time I heard the truth about what had really happened, even though I had already figured it out. It was the first, it's funny, he wanted to go more into the details, and I really already figured it out, but I let him know how this impacted me emotionally, and I also asked him how he was doing. He had been so not used to anybody asking how he felt. It was a question that took him back because his training had shut him down from feeling. And here I was saying, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And then I let him know that I really didn't hold him responsible. I really felt like it was one of those events that was out of anybody's control, and I believed he did the best he could.
For me, what was the most powerful part of this conversation was when she offered me forgiveness. She just, it sends chills down my spine to just remember that, because it was a release. So all of a sudden, here was a patient saying, I don't blame you for what happened. And, I felt like I had my life back. It was just, that instant, this load just jumped off my back. And, I felt like I could talk to anybody about it. If I can talk to the patient about it, I can certainly talk to anybody else about it. And so it felt like a new lease on life.
That telephone conversation helped me to kind of get on with my life and put things in perspective, and then from there kind of push the system that had failed us to do it better for others.
So we agreed at the end of that conversation to meet in person, when we were in closer geographic proximity, and that actually took about a year and a half. I ended up back in Boston, and almost 2 years to the date, sometime in November, I contacted Linda, let her know that I was back. Did she want to meet in person? And she did, and I offered to meet her wherever she felt comfortable. So we ended up meeting in a coffee shop in her hometown.
I could tell that, he was there, and he was so uncomfortable, but he was there anyway. And there was something about his being comfortable with that being uncomfortable that really made me admire him. And he put himself in several more positions as we move forward. And I have to tell you, at the time, I didn't know what he was doing was so extraordinary. I just thought it was two people healing from an event. It wasn't until I got really involved in patient safety and quality that I realized that what he was doing was remarkable and quite courageous.